Hello, everybody. So today we're going to be talking about the levels of organization. So far we've talked about what characterizes living things, what they're made from, and also sort of biomolecules, which are basically the backbone of what living things are made from. But now we're going to talk about what really makes us function properly, what is in our bodies that helps us, that binds together so that we can survive. So this is what the different levels of organization for living things basically means. So life is organized into different levels based upon their size. So we're going to go from small to large here. At the very bottom, we have our cells. So these are your nerve cells, your red blood cells, your skin cells, anything like that. Your tissues are a bunch of those cells clumped together to create these different layers. So the example there is nerve tissues. Your organs, your brain is an organ, your heart is an organ, your lungs are organs. All these organs are made up of clumps of tissue, and tissue is made of cells, and so on. And then a bunch of organs that come together and work together are called organ systems. So this is your nervous system, your digestive system, your central nervous system, basically. And then a bunch of these organ systems that are working together create an organism, or us. We humans are organisms. We have a bunch of organ systems that work together, and those organ systems are made up of organs, and those organs are made up of tissues, and all those tissues are made up of cells. And we're going to deep dive here a little bit further into what makes each one so special. So organisms and cells. Basics of life can be split up in two specific areas. Organisms are either unicellular or multicellular. Those that are unicellular meaning they're only made up of one specific cell. This is your bacteria, this is your yeast, this is your amoeba. All of those are unicellular organisms. Now, there are some organisms that are multicellular. That means they are made up of multiple different types of cells, as well as just a whole lot of cells. Examples are humans, trees, frogs, bananas, off the top of my head. Anything that is living and is made up of more than just one cell. So now, unicellular organisms have nothing but a single cell. Just explaining this further, multicellular organisms have many more levels of organization. So here you can see a picture of the same thing. So you basically have an organism, which is a human, which is made from organ systems. Those organ systems are made up of organs. Those organs are made up of tissues. Those tissues are made up of cells. Those cells are made up of molecules. So those molecules are similar to your carbohydrates, your proteins, your lipids, anything like that is basically what creates cells. And then we'll go we won't go too far into atoms. That is more chemistry related. But those molecules are made up of atoms. So you can break it down even to very, very, very microscopic pieces as you move your way down the levels. So what we're going to focus on are these 5 levels of organization. You have your cells, your tissues, your organs, your organ systems, and your organisms. So first off is the cell. The cell is the basic unit. It is one of the smallest pieces of our body. Each cell is specialized by size and shape for what they do. So here in a little bit, we'll talk about like what type of cells exist and what their functions are. An example is a peritoneum. This one right here. It is a unicellular organism, and it only performs all the jobs the cell has is basically to have that cell live, have that organism live. So the cell has there are 4 main types of different cells. We have our epithelial cells. These are tightly packed cells that are covering the inside and outside of your organs. So these are epithelial cells right here. This is a slide of what your actual cells look like. You have tightly attached cells used to cover the inside and outside of organs. These are found in your stomach, blood vessels, and your skin. So this is actually your skin right here. You can even see, if you look at all those little black dots right there, that is actually the nucleus of those cells. So you can actually see those in a microscope. They're pretty large, so you can actually look at it. Your nerve cells, that's another main type. These are specialized cells used to send signals from your brain to the rest of your body. This is found in your central nervous system. So basically telling me to snap my finger. The nerve cells are basically sending signals from my brain to tell my hand to do this. Another main type is a muscle cell. There are thick tubular cells used for contracting. There are about 3 or 4 different types of muscle cells, those that are voluntary and non-voluntary movements. So if I want to move my hand, my brain is telling my arm to move in a weird motion. If I want to wave, say hi to everybody. That is a voluntary movement. So the muscles in my wrist are what are creating that motion. Now, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of doing that with my hand. But what about non-voluntary movements, such as my heart pumping? I'm not thinking about making my heart pump. It's just doing it on its own. That is a non-voluntary movement. So there are muscle cells that are specific for making that happen. Also digesting food in your stomach and in your intestines. There are muscle cells that are automatically doing that. We don't have to think about doing that ourselves. It just happens. So these are found in your stomach, your blood vessels, your arms. A lot of your organs actually are lined with muscles so that they can function properly. And last but not least, we have our connective tissue. This is what provides structural strength to your body and helps fight off invaders. So this is what's found in your bloodstream, cartilage, and your bones. There are definitely different types of connective tissue. There are more different types of connective tissue than there are of the rest of those main types of cells. You have your red blood cells, white blood cells. Those are all of this family of connective tissue. So tissues, these are basically the same cells that are grouped together for the same specific job. So here you can see in the picture, you have your connective tissue that is basically your bones and your skin keeping it together. Your skeletal muscle, which is those ones that you have in your arms for voluntary movements. Your bicep is a skeletal muscle. You have your epithelial tissue, which is protecting that is the outer layer of skin, protecting your bones and protecting your muscles. You have smooth muscles. Your smooth muscles are those non-voluntary muscles in your intestines and in your stomach that are basically digesting your food. Your cardiac muscles. Your cardiac muscle is another one of those involuntary muscles that actually that has your heart beating. So your brain doesn't have to tell your body to do that. And then, of course, you have your nervous tissue, which is basically made up of all those nervous cells or those nerve cells. Organs, just breaking it down even at one step at a time. The next level is organs. It's basically a bunch of different tissues that work together to do the job in your body. Your heart, just a quick example, your stomach, intestines, anything like that is an organ. Organ systems. These are a group of organs that work together for a specific job. So let's say you have your digestive system. Your digestive system is basically your esophagus, your stomach. Your stomach goes to your intestines goes down to your bladder, and then your bladder to your rectum, and out. That is one example of an organ system. You also have your cardiac system, which is the blood pumping through your body. You have your nervous system, which is your brain and all the nerve cells through your spine and out into your appendages. You have your respiratory system, which is your lungs and how you breathe and how it basically functions to bring oxygen into your body and throughout your cells. Now, humans or organisms or those that are animals aren't the only ones with organ systems. Plants also have them. Their root system, their stems, their leaves are all part of this transport system. So they are all specific organs that the plant uses to work together so that it can survive. So humans and other animals aren't the only ones that have organ systems. Plants do as well. Now, an organism, the largest level of organization, where you have all your cells, all your tissues, all your organs, all your organ systems, all working together to create the person that you are and create the animal or plant that you see before you. So this picture just has different types of organ systems and has different levels of but basically what makes us organisms. So that is it for the video. I hope you learned something interesting, and stay curious.